When you retire, you want to get it right the first time. Hi, my name is Michelle, and I'm a financial advisor here at Financial Design Studio. As a financial advisor, I've seen a lot of business leaders retire. The ones who do it successfully, meaning who live life to the fullest and are able to live more and give more, have a few things in common. In this video, I'm going to share what we see successful retirees doing and also some traps that we see people fall into as well. The first thing that we see retiring business leaders doing is that they're starting early. So, really, when you start early, it gives you a lot of opportunities along the way. Let me explain this a little bit more. For example, someone who's just graduating from college and they're getting that first job, they're starting to earn income. One of the easiest things that you can do is just save a little bit every paycheck. It could be $25 from every paycheck that you receive. And as your income grows, you can continue to increase the amount you're saving. So, saving can be a great thing that you can do starting early. Another one is planning. We'll talk about this a little bit more in another point, but just having a plan, kind of knowing what you're saving for, which is what leads me to identifying goals. One of the things that we can sometimes see that's hard for people to do, what their goals are. What is it you want to be saving for? What is it that you want to use your money on? But those are some things that you can start to do really early on in your career. But another thing is even people who are thinking about retiring, if you can start planning about 10 years before retirement, you're going to give yourself a great window of time to make sure that you can answer questions that say, yes, will I have enough money to retire? Can I retire when I want to? Will I be able to do the things when I want to retire? So that's another way you can start early, is even in that decision to think about retirement. The second thing we see successful retirees doing is looking for opportunities. Now, one of the things that's interesting is I think it's very natural for us to think about opportunities when we think about our career. Jobs, for example. Should I stay where I'm at? Should I switch to a different role? Should I switch to a different company? I'm looking for opportunities to always be doing the best with my skills, experience, and knowledge that I have. But one of the things is to look for opportunities with the company that you're at and the benefits that you have available to you. Now, some of the ways you can look for opportunities, these can be things like compensation. So, for example, your employer pays you a salary. So, that's one example. You're looking for opportunities to always earn more. This can also be in a bonus structure. It can also be, though, with employer stock. So, this can be things like restricted stock units or stock options. You're looking for opportunities to be able to gain more in your compensation. Another thing can be with things like benefits, and these can be things that are offered to you. You're looking at these things saying, what are the opportunities I have to earn more with what I'm doing? Now, on the benefit side, this can be things like your 401k with a match or a contribution from your employer. This can be things like an HSA. It can also just be things like a legal plan. We all need estate planning documents so that our money goes to who we want it to when we pass away, or that we have someone making decisions for us when we can't, when we're medically unable to. A legal plan can help you get those documents you need for a lot cheaper, but still get quality documents. These are common ideas that you could be getting from your employer. But again, it's looking for those opportunities. A lot of times you'll get that benefit booklet from your employer, and it's really digging into those, saying, I'm looking for the opportunities of the things I know I need to use. How can I get these a little bit cheaper because these are offered by my employer? Timing is another opportunity that's really interesting by choosing an actual point in time to make a decision, whether that's donating funds and you're pairing that with when you're going to sell a stock that has a large gain, things like that. These are things that we mean when we talk about timing. These can be points of opportunity as well. The third thing that we see successful retirees doing is that they're getting help. And this comes in a lot of different ways. But think about it this way. When you're at your home, you have things that need to get done. Maybe you're busy. And so you say, I don't have time to do this. Maybe that's cutting your lawn. Maybe you say, I don't have the interest or the knowledge that I need to do this. I need to rewire something, some electrical wire in my house. I don't know how to do that safely. I need to pay someone who has that knowledge. When they're hiring us, we're helping them to do. We're saying we have the time, the interest, and knowledge. This is what we've decided to spend our time doing. This is why we need all different people. We need to get help from the people who have the time, the interest, and the knowledge to be able to do something successfully. Because the biggest thing is when you're retiring, you want to get it right the first time. So all of those pieces are important. Now, one of the things I've seen is some people, they might start out early and have funds invested that add up to a decent amount. So they may say, hey, maybe I have $500,000 of money saved. And they decide I'm going to give 100,000 to this advisor to manage, 100,000 to another advisor to manage, 100,000 here. And they do this with 5 different advisors. What I have seen is sometimes these people actually get disappointed because of the outcome or what they receive. What's really happening is they're saying, I want to see, or maybe they're saying this, I want to see who does the best, or I want to see my money grow. This is kind of a test. But what's also happening in a way is you're kind of hurting yourself because those 5 different advisors are not actually able to help you the best that they can. What makes it very hard for these different advisors to do the best job for you is they aren't seeing the whole picture or they aren't managing the whole picture. So it can be very hard to implement things when it's broken up into pieces. One of the other great things when you're working with an advisor or you're just getting help from a professional is that sometimes it just allows you to be accountable to someone. So when you're accountable to someone, they're actually able to say, great, you got these things completed. Hey, there's still this other thing that needs done. Maybe that's your estate planning documents. Maybe you don't have life insurance in place. Whatever those things are, when you're able to have someone help you, it's actually a form of kind of being accountable. The fourth thing that we see successful retirees doing is that they're balancing risk. Now, we can think that this is in a lot of different areas. So for example, with investments or things like this, a lot of times we think about risk in that sense, but we also want to think about it in just your overall plan. So think about when the market's doing really well, you're excited to see your account balances grow, and you just feel like if I can just keep saving, I can get a little bit more. The market keeps moving a little bit higher. I'm just going to buy a little bit more of this individual stock, pieces like that. But what I also want to remind you with, especially as you get closer to retirement, is you really want to balance out the risk that you're taking. The goal when we're investing for our clients is that we want your money to be there when you need it. And so in order to say that, we need to be achieving and getting the growth that the market has, but also balancing out and protecting what it is that has grown. This is really what you're doing in your whole plan. So one thing that we'll see people do is they say the market's going really well, or even when they're home, they're thinking about selling or buying a home. We think about it with home prices as well. I think I'll wait another month or another year, but these things can change really quickly. And so if it's part of your plan to buy or sell a home or investing along the way, these are things that we just want to be careful that we're balancing the risk. One of the things is if you can define what is enough, if you see what's in your plan, if you see that your plan works with what you have, you can adjust the risk. Maybe you don't need to take all that risk. You don't need to be getting all that growth because your plan works just fine. So you want to be sure that we're balancing out the risk, taking the opportunities like we talked about, but balancing that all together along the way. And the last thing that we see successful retirees doing is really that they are committing to a plan. Now, when we think about a plan, a lot of times, and most of the time, we think about a plan that happens before the event. If you're starting early, for example, you're planning ahead for retirement many years in the future. If you're someone who's thinking about retiring, you're thinking, in 10 years, I'm going to retire. It's really important, it's really wise to have a plan in place. One of the things by getting a plan is you can define, this is what I want to do. This is what's important to me. Here's what I need. Here's how much I need. Here's all of the things I want to accomplish. Now we ask the question, can you do those things? We also can answer those questions. Yes, your plan looks like it should work. All of those pieces are really valuable to you. What we see is that clients feel a huge weight off of their shoulders when they know that we can put into their plan, here's what works, your retirement looks on track, you look great, even if the market's doing well or if it's not, because we're balancing the risk and all of these pieces. But what really gives them a peace of mind is when things change, because I have not seen any plan that has gone exactly how someone planned it. Life happens, things change, their goals change, their kids move and they want to move with them. A lot of things happen. And so as we adjust those plans, we can say, yeah, that still looks good. Let's just tweak this. Let's adjust this. A plan allows you to make adjustments along the way and still feel confident because you're clear on what's going to happen. This means when you're getting ready to retire, this means after you retire. It's always having that plan and being able to say, our plan still works. We can still do these things that we wanted to. That's what we hope that our clients feel, is that they can rest assured that they have a plan in place and it's playing out even as things change in their life. So if you're someone who is starting to think about retirement and you want to do so in a tax efficient way, we'd love to help you. Click Get Started on our website to schedule a free initial consultation with our team to discuss your retirement needs. And thanks for watching.